Hello everyone again. I hope you're all doing great at home. Today I'm bringing you the second video of unit number 11, which is called Journeys. In today's video, we're going to be studying some tales and you're going to be learning how to create your own stories, right? A tale, it's usually a short story like the ones your mom or father used to tell you when you were a kid, right? They are interesting and short stories that usually give you a lesson to learn, right? Now, um, so let's have a look at the first um, exercise. So, match the pictures and the words. So we have here some very special animals, right? Not very um, good looking animals, right? Some of them might look a bit scary to some of you, right? Here we have a snake, right? Or I hate snakes. I really, really hate snakes, right? Um, I get very scared when I see a snake. What about you? Do you like snakes? No, I don't think so. Oh, it looks to me. Okay, let's continue. Then we have B, we have a bear, right? This is a bear. Don't confuse this, please, with beer, right? No, this is not a beer. This is not what you drink with your friends, right? On Saturday or Friday night, right? This is a bear, right? An animal, a bear. Then we have a snake, a rat, oh, a pigeon, right? A pigeon, very common here in Chile, right? Pigeons. And we have a small little bat, right? So, do we have these animals in our countries? How do you feel about this? Do you like these animals? Do you like snakes or rats or spiders? Or you don't like them? Maybe, right? You are like me and you get scared very easily with animals, right? So now, some of these animals will be involved in a story we're going to read now, right? So this is a story told by Belinda. Do you remember Belinda from the last video, right? The one that was traveling from Spain, I think, to Tokyo. Now, you're going to read the story very quickly and try to identify what was Belinda frightened of. Frightened is like really, really scared, right? Really scared, not just a bit, but frightened, right? Then we have what was the receptionist frightened of? So read the story very quickly just by looking at it and answer those questions. Okay, so once you're ready, right, we're going to check your answer. So what was Belinda frightened of? She was frightened of a spider, right? Of a spider. Good. But what was the receptionist frightened of? Well, the receptionist was frightened of a bear, right? Now, read the text again and answer these questions. Who is the one that took Japanese lessons? Who shouted Kuma? Who made a phone call? Who looked frightened? And who went into Belinda's room first? And who laughed? Alright, so pause the video and read the story. So, are you ready? Let's see. So, who was the one who took Japanese lessons? Belinda, right? She took Japanese lessons. Who shouted Kuma? Belinda. Good. Who made a phone call? Who made a phone call? The receptionist. Very good. The receptionist made a phone call. Who looked frightened? Who looked frightened? The receptionist. Good. Who went into Belinda's room first? The policeman. And who laughed at the end? the policeman and the receptionist, right? The ending was very interesting. She had confused the word Kuma for Kuma, right? And the story that she told the receptionist was very different from the one that she had seen on her broom, right? Very good. Now, look at examples from Belinda's stories and circle the correct form in the grammar box. So, we have in here three different rules for the use of adjectives. So, we have a as an adjective, we have the as an adjective, as an article, I'm sorry, and in some cases we don't use articles. So, let's have a look at the rule. We use a, the article a, when you talk about a person or thing for the first time. So, the first thing I saw was a huge spider on the wall, right? There's no the object, the spider is in this case, there's no precedent. There's no anticipation of what spider we are talking about. This is the first time we're mentioning this spider to someone, right? We use it also for random things, like, for example, if I say, do you know if there's a supermarket near here? Right? I'm asking about any supermarket, not one special. So we use the when the reader or the listener knows which thing we are talking about, right? When we already mentioned this object before, right? And we are mentioning a second time. So, for example, when the receptionist saw the spider on the wall, she started laughing too. Here we use the spider because we already know what spider we are talking about. It's one spider in the room, right? And we use no article, so no article needed, when you talk about things in general. I hate spiders. All spiders, right? And pay attention, we use plural. I don't say I hate spider. I say I hate spiders. I hate all spiders in the world, right? So when we don't know about specific things we're talking about, we use a. When we talk about something that is mentioned before, right, we use the, and we don't use any articles when we talk about things in general. So you use the here in a lot of fixed expressions and also before some adjectives. So add these expressions that we're going to read here from Belinda's story to the table we're going to see in the next part. So we have in the south, I was in the south of Japan at the time. The first thing I saw was a huge spider on the wall, right? The first thing. So let's have a look at the chart. So here we have the extracts, the categories in which we can use the article the. We can use it for time expressions, like in the morning, at the weekend, at the moment, right? In the evening as well. For places like in the middle of, in the corner of, or at the end of something, and before some adjectives. The best, the worst, the most. Remember that these are superlatives, right? We saw them last unit. The same, we always say something is the same. The last and the next. So the examples we had before were in the south of. In the south of. Is it a time, a place expression, or is it used before adjectives? In the south of, place expression, right? At the time, it's a time expression. And when I say the first thing I saw, that is before an adjective, right? Best, word, most. In this case, we have the first. So now, let's see. Complete the sentence with a, an, the, or no article. Remember that the difference between a and an is that we use a when we have a word that starts with a consonant, but if we have a word starting with a vowel like the word apple, we say an apple, a cup of coffee, and an apple, right? So now pause the video and complete this with the correct article. Okay, are you ready? Let's check your answers. So the first thing we have is, when was the last time you saw a spider? Here we have an adjective, last. So we use the article the, right? Do you like pasta? No article. Do you like pasta? We're talking about pasta in general, right? Do you like pasta? Very good. Then we have, is there, I'm going to try to, is there an art gallery near here? We're talking about any art gallery, right? Not a specific one. Yeah, so an art gallery, and we have a vowel here, right? So we cannot say a art gallery, we say an. Can you open the door, please? The door, because we know which door we're talking about. If I say, can you open the door? Probably is the door that is closest to you, right? Have you got a pen I can use? I don't know if you have a pen, right? So I'm asking for any pen. I don't care, right? So have you got a pen? What's the name of the person next to you? We use the because all of us have just one name, right? When I say what's your name, I'm asking for your first name, right? What's the name of the person next to you? Do you like cats? In general, cats. What's the easiest way to learn? What's the easiest way to learn? Superlative. So we use the, right? Did you have them all correct? So now let's go to page 140 so we can do some more exercises. Okay? Very good. So here we have the rules, right? So let's see. We use a, an as an indefinite article when you talk about a person or thing for the first time. Is there a post office on the street, right? We use the when the listener knows which person or thing you're talking about. So for example, the listener knows because you have talked about it before. We've got two cars, a Fiat and a Honda. We use the Fiat to get around the city, right? We mentioned a Fiat before, so now we say the. Another reason might be because they know, because it's clear from the situation and from the context, right? Can you close the door, please, right? Probably we just have one door in a room, right? So we know from the context which thing we are talking about. They know because there's only one, like in the word or in a specific situation. So, for example, I say, the sun is really bright today, or the moon is really beautiful today, right? Or the stars, because we know that we have the sun in the sky, the moon as well, and the stars, right? This is why you usually use the with ordinal numbers and superlatives, because there's one only first or best, right? And I've told you that before. There's only one tallest person in the class. There's not two, there's just one. So specific, we use the, right? Um, then you don't use articles when you talk about things in general. This is sometimes called the zero article. So I don't like coffee. In general, I don't like it, right? Bananas are my favorite fruit. Now, let's continue. You can use a or an before singular countable noun. She's got a boy and a girl. We can use the before singular countable nouns like the boy, or plurals, the shops, or uncountables, the luggage, right? So these ones are more flexible. We don't use the with possessives. We say, this is my uncle. I cannot say the my uncle, right? But that's common knowledge. You can use a zero article before plural, countable nouns, and uncountable nouns, right? But usually in plural, right? And chocolate, for example, we don't have, we cannot say chocolates. We say chocolate, right? So it is uncountable. The same as milk. I love milk, or I love almond milk, right? You cannot say I love milks, right? But we usually consider this as plurals. Now, exercise. Finally, add the, a, or no article to the sentences below. So please pause the video now, do these exercises because I'm going to give you the answers now. All right? So are you ready? Let's see. Number 1. Look at the moon. It's beautiful. Look at the moon. It's beautiful. Very good. Number 2. Would you like a drink? Would you like a drink? 3. I've got a sister and a brother. My brother lives in Sao Paulo and my sister lives in Brasilia, right? I've got a sister and a brother. I love animals in general. No article here. Excuse me, when's the next train to Istanbul? When's the next train? Next, this is an adjective, so we place it here. The next. 6. This is an announcement for all passengers flying to Kuala Lumpur, right? This is an announcement. My brother has got a fantastic flat near the sea. My brother has got a fantastic flat near the sea, right? The sea. There's only one sea. No, there's more than one sea, but we know that about what we're talking about, right? Cars are more expensive than motorbikes. General statement, so no articles. Do you prefer tea or coffee? Again, no articles. And the last one, is there a bank near here? Is there a bank near here? Now, did you have them all correct? You will have more exercises on the aula virtual if you want to practice, so don't worry, right? Or if you have specific questions, you can always send me an email. So don't worry if you don't get it at first. Now, I told you that this lesson was about telling stories. We already read a story, but now I want to teach you how to create your own story. So, when we have stories, we have, for telling stories, we have expressions. Very common expressions that we use in most stories, right? For example, when you were a kid, right? All tales started with había una vez, right? Or once upon a time in English, right? That's a storytelling expression. So, pay attention here to the box. Here we have some examples of storytelling expressions. So, we have 3 different categories if you pay attention here. We have expressions to start a story, like once upon a time, right? We have expressions to link a story, like in the middle, right? To link ideas. And we also have expressions for ending a story. Yes? So let's have a look at the expressions and try to classify them according to the place you're going to put them in a story. So we have later, it was 2 in the morning, it was really strange, and then I was with some friends, in the end, After that, I had a great time. Well, this was a few years ago. So please classify them according to what you think is going to be the category. So let's listen now to check.
Track 19.
1. To start a story.
It was 2 in the morning. I was with some friends. Well, this was a few weeks ago.
2. To link a story.
Later. And then. After that.
3. To end a story.
It was really strange. I had a great time. In the end.
Very good. So, I'm sorry. What did I do? Okay. So, what you have to keep in mind is that when you start a story, it's very important for you to give the context, right? To explain where was it and when was it, and to describe the situation in general, right? So, you can catch the attention of another person. Because if you start telling a story without talking about those details, that might be confusing to other people, right? To your listeners in this case. Now, when you link a story, you want to use expressions to demonstrate that the story continues, right? Later, and then, after that. These are called sequencing expressions. I'm going to teach you some more, right? These are the most common ones. You can also say first, and then, right? And then start creating this sort of sequence, right? And then when you end the story, the idea is for your story to have a clear ending, right? Um, to state and try to catch the attention of the person so they know that you're going to finish, right? So that is why you say in the end, right? And then you wrap up saying, I had a great time, right? It was something funny, or it was strange, or it was scary, right? The feeling you got. Of course, stories are written in past, right? You have to use past verbs because you're talking about something that happened to you in the past, right? And another tip for writing stories is that we usually use a lot of adjectives and adverbs, right? When we say it was really strange, right? So you transmit that to your listeners or readers, right? So they know how you were feeling. We talked about smells and colors, and we describe things in great detail. Now, here we have a picture story, right? So we have several images here, right? Try to pay attention to each of them. We have Holly, that's her name, right? She's driving, and then it looked like she stopped. She took something out of her car, right? Maybe that looks like a camera, right? And then she looks a bit scared. Then we have the bird looks a bit angry, right? And we have her there doing something, right? So in this part, like above the images, we have some notes, right, that were used to write this story. So we have in my car in the Rocky Mountains in Canada. That's a place. Lots of mountains and trees. So she's describing the scenery, right? The space. See a family of bears, mother and two cubs, right? So the mother and the two cubs there. Stop the car, get out and take photos. Cubs look frightened. Mother gets angry, walks towards me and can't open car door. These are the notes. What I want you to do is to now take your time and try to create a story using these notes, right? Yes. So imagine that you are Holly and you are telling this story. So you would start saying something like, you can take phrases from here, right? You can say, um, it was 2 weeks ago, to give context, right? I was alone in this case, or well, this was a few weeks ago. I was alone in my car, right, driving in the Rocky Mountains in Canada, right? There were a lot of mountains and trees when suddenly I saw past, right, a family of bears. It was a mother and her two cubs. They looked lovely, so I stopped the car past, right, because I wanted to get out and take some photos of them. I wanted to show those photos to my daughter, maybe, right? I started to get closer, maybe, and the cubs looked frightened. Yes, maybe I got too close. The mother got angry, and the bear started walking towards me, right? So I tried to get in the car, and I couldn't open the car door, right? That would be the start and the middle of a story, right? Past simple, and here we have the notes. So what I want you to do now is to try to think of an ending for this story, all right? So uh, pause the video now, write an ending to this story, and send it to my email, okay? Because I'm going to be checking your stories. So let's see. Think of a good ending for the story. Imagine that you are Holly, prepared to tell the story. Think about the past simple of the verbs, where to use the, stopped the car, the mother verb, because we already mentioned that, and where to use storytelling expressions. Okay, so I'm not going to show you the end of the story. I'm going to be waiting for your homework. So please send it to my email and we can talk about it in our next online session, maybe. All right, so that is the end for today. I will see you very, very soon. Bye bye.